Hi guys, it's Ben Heath from Lead Guru, and in this video, I'm going to talk about what you should be expecting when it comes to Facebook advertising for Q3 and Q4 of 2021. Basically, what should we be expecting for the second half of 2021 in the Facebook advertising, the Instagram advertising world? Now, we know that the first half of this year, Q1, Q2, with the iOS 14 changes and all that sort of stuff, was very tumultuous in the Facebook ads world. Lots of changes were made, lots of things we're still adjusting to. So I thought it'd be a good idea to create a video around what I think is likely to happen and what we should be preparing for, what I'm trying to get us prepared for in my Facebook ads agency when it comes to Facebook and Instagram advertising for the second half of this year, which we're very nearly into as of the recording this video. Before we get into that, I want to very quickly ask you to smash that like button, click that thumbs up button, that'd be much appreciated, and subscribe to my channel if you haven't done so already. Okay, so as I already said, Q1, Q2, we had all the iOS 14 changes. We had sort of the first round in January, the second round at the end of April. And that's been challenging certainly for Facebook ads agencies like mine, but also for businesses that are trying to advertise their own products and services on Facebook as well. There's been a lot of adjustments. And I think that off the back of that, but also off the back of some other factors, we are likely to see some changes and some things happen over the next 6 months in the Facebook ads world. I mean, in fact, realistically, we've seen crazy Facebook ad landscape for well over a year now, a lot of it to do with lockdowns and pandemic and changing behaviors and all that sort of stuff. But I think some of that's still going to come into play. So what do I expect to happen? The first thing is I think that the bulk of, well, not the bulk, but a lot of Facebook advertising spend is going to start to shift away from e-commerce, online businesses, businesses selling products and services that can be delivered in people's homes. Now, for the last 12 months plus, that has been the absolute bread and butter for Facebook, because those are the businesses that could keep running, that have arguably benefited a lot from people being locked in their own homes and having to order things online, having to purchase digital stuff, online courses, training programs, experiences that they would perhaps have done face-to-face previously. So that's what has happened. I think we're going to start to see a reversion back to the mean, back to the normal, where there's still going to be loads of people spending a lot of money on e-commerce products, digital businesses, but some of that consumer spending, I'm not talking about Facebook advertising, but consumer spending is going to shift away from those businesses more to in-person live experiences. You know, in the UK, we're sort of slowly getting back to regular life. And I know that I certainly feel it personally, but tons of other people that I know are just desperate to do things as a human being with other human beings, not on the end of a screen all the time. There's still a place for all of that sort of stuff, absolutely. And there's probably going to be more of a place for that going forward than there was previously, but just some mix in there. So I think a lot of people are going to be spending a lot of money on restaurants and whilst limited, but travel, on in-person live experiences. So I think a lot of those types of businesses that haven't been spending at all for over a year on Facebook and Instagram, they're going to start ramping up their ad budgets. And I think we're actually going to see really, really good results. On the flip side of that, there's going to have to be less demand, less consumer money spent on e-commerce products, and as a result, advertisers are probably going to have to, or they're going to, pare back their budget slightly. You know, if you think that April, May 2020 is representative of the results that you should be achieving as an e-commerce business, I've got bad news for you. That was the best time you're probably ever likely to see, because everyone was stuck at home. Depending on, I know this is very much dependent on your geography, but if you're in a country like US or UK with furlough schemes and things like that, people didn't really experience a drop in income that much. Well, most people didn't, at least, so they still had disposable income, but they couldn't go out and spend it. So they bought tons of stuff, absolutely tons of stuff. I think that environment is going to continue, and we have seen it drop off, clearly, as the world's been getting back to things. That's going to continue to do so, and there's going to be more money from consumers spent on in-person live experiences, and that's likely to be reflected in advertising, because obviously what consumers are doing and spending, advertising are going to follow. It's why there were 1,000 dropshipping business thousands and thousands of dropshipping businesses that popped up seemingly overnight last late spring, early summer, because there was so much demand for those sorts of products, because everyone was stuck at home and they were looking around their home thinking, what do I do? What can I buy for keep the kids entertained? What can I buy to make my house a bit nicer? You know, all that sort of stuff. So I think that's a huge shift that we're likely to see. If you are selling in-person services, experiences, I think the next 3 months in particular, those things often coincide with the summer. It's a good time to advertise. It's going to be just a fantastic time of year for you to really go for it and really plan to advertise, plan to acquire a lot of customers. I think results can be easy to have. I think to some extent the opposite is going to be true with all those businesses that have had a fantastic time for 12 months, or the online businesses, the e-commerce businesses. It's not going to be quite as easy for you guys anymore, because instead of just being stuck at home, indoors, on their phones, people are going to be out and about in the world, which is great for the world, maybe not if you're selling an e-commerce product. Okay, so that's the very first thing I think we're going to see. The second thing I want to talk about is Facebook advertising has had quite a bit of bad publicity over the last, it's been building, hasn't it? When I first got involved with Facebook ads I believe around my first ad campaign in 2014, so 7 years ago now, it might have been late 2013, but around about then, people did not have the attitude towards Facebook advertising, not from advertisers themselves, that's obviously changed, but from the general public, was completely different to how it is now. Negativity has been building. People are very concerned about digital privacy. Facebook's had a number of sort of semi-scandals around being involved in political campaigns. So the attitude in the general public, as Facebook's continued to make more and more money, has decreased. And I think the iOS 14 is probably one of the first times where that has spilt over into advertisers' attitude towards Facebook. You know, maybe 18 months ago, the general population was starting to get a little bit concerned about social media companies and advertising on these platforms and things like that in general, but advertisers were like, you still get great results with Facebook and Instagram ads. I think the iOS 14 stuff has put a dent in that, and it's the first time that advertisers are sort of getting angry with not just Facebook, but obviously Apple and the systems and all that sort of stuff. So that's something that's likely to continue, and we know that there are going to be further crackdowns to do with privacy-related issues, so we're going to have less visibility over tracking and data, and we're going to have to shift away from real-time actions like I launched a campaign this morning, how is it performing 4 hours later, which is what people have done previously, and more to probably more traditional form of marketing where you're going to have to be longer term focused. You're going to have to look at how did your company perform this month with your marketing efforts as opposed to the last 3 hours, that sort of stuff. But a lot of advertisers aren't going to want to do that. I'm actually quite happy with that. I've often talked about, I think most Facebook advertisers would do a better job if they couldn't see real-time data, because it leads them to be too trigger happy and they expect the impossible and they expect results in the next 3 days, not looking at things that, you know, I've thought for a while that if Facebook just provided an end of month report to Facebook advertisers, that would probably be beneficial as opposed to the real-time data. But a lot of advertisers aren't going to like that. They're going to go, oh, I didn't get any result. I launched a campaign for 2 weeks, didn't get any results, I'm done. That should, and in fact I'm very confident it will, decrease the number of Facebook advertisers and the amount of money being spent on Facebook ads as a platform. That decrease in competition should lead to a decrease in price. The cost of Facebook ads is as close to a perfect market as you can get. You know, it's an auction system, you've got supply, you've got demand. Supply is more or less fixed. I mean, it's not, but it's pretty stable, has been for a long time. Supply being the number of ad impressions available. Demand has just been going up and up and up, which has made Facebook ads more and more expensive. If that demand decreases, that should decrease the cost of Facebook advertising. So I would not at all be surprised if towards the end of, you know, I actually think we're starting to see this a little bit, but towards the end of, let's say, Q3 2021, we see a decrease in the cost of Facebook advertising because advertisers have left, they've scaled back budgets. Ironically, the worse the press gets around Facebook advertising, the better it is for those of us that are going to continue using the platform, because it's going to scare away a lot of the competition. It's like if tomorrow everyone woke up, all advertisers woke up and were like, Facebook ads is rubbish, not advertising on that platform. It sounds like that would be an awful thing if you're involved in the Facebook ads industry. It probably wouldn't be very good for agency owners. But if you're advertising on Facebook, you'd be like, That'd be the best thing ever, provided the users, the actual end consumers, didn't go anywhere. You'd be like, woohoo, I can advertise to all these people. It's not going to cost me a fraction of what I did before and all that sort of stuff. That would actually be amazing because they're your competition, right? It's not many people think about it. A lot of people think like, oh, everyone's on Facebook ads. I need to be on Facebook ads. Actually, you could argue the opposite because that's how the price works. So I think we're likely to see a decrease in cost. Having said that, Q4 is still likely to be more expensive. Q4 is always more expensive. Particularly obviously in Europe, North America, you've got Christmas, you've got Black Friday sales, you've got big things that a lot of advertisers, there's lots of advertisers that sell 60, 70% of their product during Q4. They reserve their advertising budget quite smartly for those times. So Q4 is going to be more expensive than the rest of the year, but I think it may well be less expensive than the previous year, than Q4 2020. And that's really the trend that I think we're likely to see going forward. So that's the second thing I want to talk about is price dynamics. And that might be really good news. If you can handle the lack of data, you might be in the best situation possible because scare off all your competition, you stay, happy days, you can get the great results. The last thing I want to mention around what I think we're likely to see in the second half of 2021, but I don't know how long it's going to last for, and I need to be quite clear on that, is we're going to see Facebook ads stabilize. So at the end of April, we saw the sort of final, I'm reluctant to use the word final, but final round of iOS 14 changes implemented. That has led to topsy-turvy results, fluctuations. I see it in all my comments. People had great campaigns, they drop off all of a sudden, all that sort of stuff. As I think basically Facebook is readjusting to the new situation, the new paradigm. Going forward, I don't foresee massive changes for the next 6 months. I think Facebook's going to work that out. The algorithms are going to stabilize and we're going to see more consistent results. Now, there are rumors, more than rumors, indications that next year, 2022, we are going to start to see other businesses start to crack down on privacy. Do we see what we've seen on iOS devices or Android devices? Highly likely. Do we see browsers getting rid of cookies? I know Google Chrome, that is definitely being talked about as an option. So there's likely to be more changes, expect more difficulty, but probably not in Q3, Q4 2021. That's likely to come more next year. So it should see a period of stability, something you may want to take advantage of, something that you may want to start to implement an advertising strategy and a way of doing things that works, so that if you then lose tons of data, let's say come February 2022, if you've got 6 months of knowing that what you're doing works, you don't need to turn your campaigns off and panic because you're like, right, we don't have the data, but we know this is working, and you don't have to be as reactive as other people. And being less reactive is nearly always an important thing and a way to help succeed, okay? So those are some of the things that I think we should be expecting Q3, Q4 2021. If you've got any other comments, any other thoughts, pop them in the comments below. If you agree with me, disagree, again, pop in the comments below. I see all the comments, I answer as many as I can. Before you go ahead and do that, something I want to quickly mention, and that's our Facebook advertising services. So if you are running Facebook ad campaigns for your own business, you're looking to get better results, you're thinking about working with a professional agency, my company Lead Guru is exactly that. We're a specialist Facebook and Instagram advertising agency. We create, manage and optimize campaigns for our clients. We can handle all of it. Creative, we got graphic designers, video editors, copywriters, we can manage the campaigns, put them together, we can optimize them, all that sort of stuff. If that sounds like something you'd be interested in, you can book a free call with one of my team members. There'll be a link in the video description below. We do require that a business has at least 3K per month to spend on their ad campaigns before we work with them. So please make sure you meet that criteria before you book a call, otherwise we won't be able to have the call, we won't be able to work with you, all that sort of stuff. But yeah, there are certainly changes ahead, and if you want a company sort of guiding you and steering you through that, we can certainly provide that. If this has been useful, thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, as I already said, comment below, and I will talk to you soon. Thanks a lot, guys. Bye for now.